welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to the NBA Bit. We got a busy day today. The weather forced us to fire up live before lock a little bit earlier than we typically do. We got some weather games today. The Hornets moved their game up. There's a second one too that I'm blanking on, but I believe lock is going to be at, is it 1 or 1:30 today? Let's pull it up. Let's pull up today's action. Pacers and Hawks will tip off at 1:30 Eastern, and then we got 76ers and Hornets at 3 p.m. So rare they adjusted lock accordingly. So we got an earlier one today. We'll be live at noon Eastern. It won't be super helpful. It'll be a lot of guesswork because we won't have injury news. But that's what we got going on today. NBA Bit Monday through Friday. 89 Cavs at some point. We'll have a fun one today. Weisberg's going to join us here in a second and just bop around the league a little bit. In the chat, happy birthday to Vince Carter and Garland. Hell yeah. Sneeps is here. Yeah, listen, if you have to go into the office today, second screen it. We got Galactic in there. Good to see you, man. Magikarp, by the way, on an absolute heater, right? Was it Thursday night? No, Wednesday night qualifies for the Dog Bowl, right? Was it Wednesday? Whatever. Wins the Dog Bowl. He's going out to L.A., then follows that up by winning the main slate. I think it was Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday comes in first for 7K. And then last night had like 2 top 5 finishes, which was really good. So shout out Magikarp. And we're rocking the Pats hat today. Twofold, because it's cold as hell right now. Even with the heat pumping, we got a full Zakarian worth of snow. Let's say 8 inches. We got a lot of snow in New York. So it's freezing here, man. We're rocking the Pats hat. It was a fun. Actually, it wasn't a fun game yesterday. It was a stressful game. But I got to tell you, one of my favorite, I felt nostalgic for it yesterday with the snow. Early 20s vibes, right? Where you get snowed in, but you live in a city, so you can just walk to a bar. And it was packed. It was packed for the game. It was a lot of fun. It had some good. We had a barley beef stew, which was great. It was just good times all around. Is it Coos time? It's never Coos time. All right, real happy for all you Pats fans. Yeah, finally got a W. Is Top Shot dead? Yeah, it is. We'll bounce around. Let's get Weisberg on here. Hasn't been on in a while, so good to have Weisberg back. Mike, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, it's been a minute, buddy. Congrats to you and me for our Pats making the Super Bowl. That was fun.
Congrats to us.
Congrats to us. We didn't play it fucking down, but congrats to us, goddammit.
Yeah.
My voice is shot because I was in a Patriots bar yesterday.
That's fun.
SF, so I'm operating wounded, but happy.
There you go.
It is what it is. Much like Giannis and Ja, just a little bit hurt. Not
we're gonna focus, I think, on that first. Before we do that, I forgot to share this. I wanted to do this morning. So my guy, Coach Stark Holmes, he texted me yesterday from the Suns game, and it was insane seats. And then I see this tweet here, which Stark yesterday said, "Huge shout out to Matt Ishbia and the Suns. It's one thing to be invited to the owner's suites, but then to be told that the owner of the Suns wants Don and I to sit courtside." I was courtside yesterday in the owner's seats. So shout out Coach Stark, man.
How do we know how he knows Ishbia?
No. He said long story that he would tell me about later. So once we have more information, we'll report back. But shout out Coach Stark. That's fun. All right, Mike, where do you want to start? You want to start with Giannis? What injury do you want to start with?
Let's start Giannis, then we'll go to Ja, because Ja is just depressing.
And Ja feels like it might be actually an injury.
Yeah.
Giannis, I don't know if that's true.
So let's recap Giannis's weekend a little bit. What was it, Friday where they had that loss? Thursday, Friday, where he basically accused the entire team of being selfish other than him.
Yeah, it was the OKC game. The OKC game where he took 8 shots or whatever it was.
But also was I don't know whether I'm the black hat or the white hat. Or sorry, black swan, white swan. Like the Kobe Paul Gasol thing. Here's the problem with that as a reference. You're the black swan the entire time.
Yeah.
In the analogy, Kobe's a black swan. Like, it's meant for someone who's not good enough to make that decision.
Yeah. I thought it
So
was
I
a
don't
Natalie
really-
Portman reference.
It is that as well. And then he has the injury the other night and immediately self-diagnosis to 4 to 6 weeks.
That
Like,
was
I've never
crazy.
seen that. I've never seen someone be like, "Hey man, I'm gonna get an MRI. It'll probably be 4 to 6 weeks, man. It is what it is."
That was wild.
Amazing stuff.
I was pretty surprised too. Like Doc's comments after the game were kind of interesting, where he was like, "Yeah, we knew he was laboring and tried to take him out of the game, but he wouldn't come out of the game." So I like it kind of felt like I don't know if acted defiance is maybe too strong, but I like we haven't gotten any MRI results, right? Like there's been no other update outside of Giannis saying that, or did those come out? Did I miss those?
I've not seen anything.
So usually we have that within 24 hours, no?
24 to 48. Even like the Warriors situation with Kuminga, it took them like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And even that, people were like, "Well, there's a lot going on right now in the world." So Jonathan Kuminga has a bone bruise. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and maybe we find out today. That is true too. That everybody's having a tough time traveling, but Milwaukee is at home because I know their game got canceled yesterday, so they are at home. I'm surprised because I think that game was Friday, right? The Bucks didn't play. They played Wednesday, Friday this past week, and then nothing for the weekend. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised we don't have it. Maybe we get that Shams notification here in the next hour or so.
I guess the big picture thing with the Giannis stuff is like, all right, even if he's out 4 to 6 weeks, we've been playing this pretty much the entire year dance of like, will he or won't he ask for a trade? And he very clearly does not want to be that person. You know,
Yeah, it's just
it feels
so funny.
like a toxic. Mike, I'll give you a good analogy. It feels like two friends that are in a relationship, and you know that they want to break up, but like the other person doesn't want to do the breaking up. Like, that's how I feel about Giannis at this point. And everyone can see that it's ending. It's just about when it ends.
And people always forget too that it's just like you're remembered way more fondly if you can just have the hard conversation right away. Like the longer this drags out. I mean, and again, I tweeted something I think over the weekend where I was just like, in the big picture, years from now, this doesn't matter. Like the way he moved, like you already got the title. Like it doesn't matter. Bucks fans aren't going to hold this over him or anything. Like they might not even care that this is happening now. But it is kind of like I feel like he is a player that had established or garnered so much goodwill over a long period of time. And I can't think of another situation of someone just like punting that goodwill as quickly as they did. And I think the closest is probably KD, which Gobler on Twitter responded with that one. And I was like, yeah, I guess this still feels different because the KD stuff happened after he left where nobody gave him credit for going. It's because he went to the super team where Giannis hasn't even left yet. And I feel like he's still punting his goodwill.
Yes and no. I think ultimately it may not matter. I think
to Bucks fans for sure it won't, but I just mean like the general NBA fan.
Yeah, but I also feel like the other concern with the Bucks is, does John Horst make a move? Like, and Horst has pretty consistently gone all out to keep Giannis, which understandably so, but it's been at the detriment of, they've either traded first round picks or they've drafted poorly. They have done well on the edges of getting guys like AJ Green, but like that doesn't help you win a title when you're just not getting enough out of it, like a second guy, basically.
Yeah.
The Dame trade killed them ultimately for this.
Yeah, I mean,
remaining
you were saying
second era of Giannis.
You were saying they did well around the edges. I would argue that you used the one example of them doing well. Like
I was being generous.
Yeah, I mean the Kuzma Middleton, the Miles Turner. I mean, like there was a
AJ
story
Johnson being in that trade last year.
Yeah, there was the Keyshawn George story where he was doing an interview. I don't know if it was Old Man or Young Man the Three. I forget what pod it was. But he was like, yeah, the Bucks basically promised me that they were going to draft me, and then I forget what the pick was. Oh no, and then it was whoever the AJ Johnson, right? The guy that was included and then they took him instead, who's now on the Wizards. Like, and you see what Keyshawn George is doing for Washington now. So I don't know what kind of good move they made. Now, granted, like this, when you're like a mid-level or mid-market team like that, you make the move for Drew and you got the title, and that's kind of what the reward was, right? I don't know how sustainable this was long-term anyways, but it's just getting ugly.
And the aprons, I think, ultimately have made it really tough, right?
Yeah.
Like, the aprons came in around the same time after Giannis wins that title in 21. And I think for a mid-market team, it can be a little difficult to manage that. Now they got Dame's number on the books for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be it's a really difficult situation. And if you do end up deciding to trade Giannis, likely in the offseason, I don't think he gets traded.
No, he's not getting traded
in the next 2 weeks. I do wonder if John Horst makes a move here, though, and how that impacts them, 2 years down the line. Do you make a move for Zach LaVine, for example? Something like that. I
mean, not now, right? Like with this, if Giannis is really out 4 to 6 weeks, what does LaVine do?
Well, that's my question. Like, I wonder if John Horst is willing to put assets on the table to try to like just get you to the play-in, because otherwise you're just a lottery team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're already a lottery team. Like they're barely 500 when Giannis is playing, right? And so now you take them out of the equation. You got Kevin Porter Jr.'s hurt again, and like Zach LaVine's on a lottery team with a better supporting cast now. Like I don't know. That seems like it'd be so dumb. I think I forget what their pick situation is though, right? Don't they don't have like complete.
So they technically own their pick, but it's weird because it is the better of the 2 picks for the Pelicans and the Bucks.
Right. So it's still a good pick. It's just not there. It's not complete control, right?
Yeah. So like, look, if as DJ Pasquan says in the chat, they should just tank, pray the Pelicans pick is first and theirs is second.
Yeah.
That would be the best case scenario for them.
Well, because if Giannis is really out 6 weeks, I mean, that's like April.
That's devastating.
Or March. I mean, that's March. And so like, and again, what were they like 4 and whatever without Giannis? And I don't see them all of a sudden shooting up the standings. They still have to catch somebody to get into the play-in, but I think the better money is on Charlotte catching them, And like Chicago's weirdly playing good basketball lately, so I don't know. I don't see the path forward. And I honestly, like Snoopaloop, I'm with you, man. I think like in retrospect, Adrian Griffin getting fired is kind of hilarious now, right? Like what was their record?
Adrian Griffin, not AJ.
What did I say?
I said AJ. It's fine though.
Oh no, I said Adrian. Maybe just mumbled through it. I was more concerned I got his last name wrong. But yeah, like they were like 8 games over 500 when he got fired, right? And then, and now you bring in Doc, and does Doc have a losing record since taking over as Bucks head coach?
We can pull that up.
I don't think so. He's probably not. It's probably not losing, but why? Yeah, why is he there now?
70. He is exactly 1 game under 500.
Hell yeah.
79 and 80.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, look, the Bucks are in the dark place. I think it is going to take that franchise a little bit to come back around once they make the Giannis trade in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what it is. Like, there's a real story to be told about where Giannis wants to go. And I think he has the equity to go to the org and say, hey, here's my list of teams. And he may only list like New York and Golden State or New York and Miami or something like that. But
yeah,
we'll see what he ends up doing on that.
Yeah, I know Golden State was getting a little bit of buzz. I'd be really surprised if that's where he says he wants to go. Only because like I know Steph is there, but to me, if you're like I want to compete and then you pick that roster, I'd be like, what are we doing? Like to immediately be like, yeah, I am starting to hit the back end of my prime. Let me go link up with someone who is close to 40. Like that.
There's some family stuff there.
But what I'm saying is like to actually compete, it makes no sense. Like if that's his whole thing, where I want to be in a competitive situation, like congrats, man, you're gonna go for like Golden State's gonna forfeit over a bunch of their future assets for you to go win what 46 games.
Maybe. And there's still like long-term injury stuff with Giannis
Right.
too. Like
Right.
he hasn't really stayed healthy over the last couple of years. But if you're going to make the case for Golden State, it would be like, you trade the Jimmy contract, you trade all your picks, and then you hope you can somehow land in the top 4 and hope everyone stays healthy.
Oh, I think it's fine for Milwaukee to do it. I think Milwaukee's fine. I'm just saying, like, why? If Giannis' whole thing is he's like, as I get to the back end of me being a number 1 guy on a championship caliber team, and he's like, man, it'd be sick if I was linking up with Moses Moody and Quentin Post and like, and backpack Draymond and 38-year-old Steph Curry like that. I just would be really surprised if that's what he and I mean Steph is also obviously still balling, but it's like I mean I don't know. That to me would be way riskier than him forcing his way to like a New York team or any team in the Southwest Division of the Western Conference.
I mean, I could also I could see Atlanta. That would make a lot of sense.
Atlanta would make a ton of sense.
Miami would make a ton of sense. Particularly, like if they're willing to deal Bam, the weird thing about that is like, who do you pair as second star next to Giannis in Miami?
Right.
So it would require a second transaction. But yeah, look, Giannis is going to have options this summer. It's just about like finding a way to make the deal work ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, and is his thing where he actually won't be moved until September? Was there something in there like that? It's easier for him to get moved closer to the start of the season, something contract related.
I haven't heard, but I will say this: he has I think 1 year left after this deal, which is basically I think a player option. Mm-hmm. So you're going to want to trade him, and then once he gets there. He may sign a short-term extension, like a couple years, just to get his bird rights back, and then re-up for a longer term, like last deal.
Yeah, yep. I think this is what I was thinking. Like, if they did some sort of sign and trade. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it all off season long, which is nice that we have something like that to feed us through the off season. But
nothing like a Stan Loves comment.
Yeah, they will. Hey, listen, dude, Bam's been hooping since Khalil Ware has been out. Bam's been on a tear lately. So there you go, from a fantasy.
Yeah, a guy who's been playing like a sub all-star the entire year, finally hooping. Who would have thought?
They got him, man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Vibes are bad in Milwaukee. Get ready for a lot of Kyle Kuzma, a lot of Bobby Portis. Miles Turner will probably still suck. So I'll be curious to see. They're not going to have to try to tank, which is nice. Like if people are worried about who they're going to play, like the squad they're going to be throwing out there, it's going to be pretty bad all the time. So
speaking of tanking, Mike, how are you feeling about the Memphis Grizzlies right now?
They like weirdly play okay without Ja, so I don't even know if they're gonna be able to tank. I know their injury stuff is just crazy. Like tonight they might be getting Santi Aldama back, but they're without Ja, Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Ty Jerome, and Scottie Pippen Jr. They just like all of a sudden Jock Landale has become pretty important at his job, which is kind of funny. So I don't know. I don't know what Memphis does moving forward.
This jaw injury is so weird.
Was it elbow sprain, right? Is that what it was?
It's a UCL sprain.
UCL.
So it's an elbow sprain, yes. But like specifically, it's a UCL sprain, which you don't usually see in basketball players.
Yeah.
So like pretty unusual injury. And the other thing is like outside of the declining play and kind of like the back and forth about whether he wants to be in Memphis, is he just hasn't been healthy the last 3 years.
No.
Like, he's averaging about, like, even if he comes back from this at about the timeline they want, we're talking about he will have averaged about 48 games a year the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's unacceptable for a superstar.
Yeah, and if he had any trade value, I think he would have been traded by now. Like, I firmly believe that. I think Memphis was ready to move on. I just don't think, Stan saying Ja playing less than Embiid last year is insane. I know. And Embiid is like a workhorse now. It's not even a fair comp.
He's getting 30 and 11 every night, basically.
He's playing like we've seen him play back-to-backs. Embiid's been cooking. But yeah, I don't know what Memphis does, man. I know they control their picks, I believe, right? And then they got
do,
all
yeah.
that Orlando asset stuff with Bain. But I just wonder like what they end up doing with with the rest of those guys, because like Ja's not really getting you anything whether he stays with the team or not. Like you're not getting a ton back for him. But I do wonder if that like ramps up the Jaren Jackson Jr. stuff. And I know they made those comments of like, oh, we're gonna build around Triple J, but it feels like you
No.
kind of say that just to build up his trade value and then move off him. But I don't know.
I just think from a team building perspective, the question becomes, who do you want to build around long term?
Cedric
Because I
Coward.
don't think it's anyone on this roster.
Coward. It's Cedric Coward, baby. Build around him.
Look, I think Cedric Coward could be a nice number 2, number 3 piece. I don't think he's the guy you want to build around as a number 1. And, maybe you just tank a little bit more to get a little higher in this draft, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get a DeBanza, you can get a Peterson, you can get a Boozer. Hell, get a Nate Ament. I mean, this draft is so good, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of, I would say, like, impactful rookies for next year's class is going to be pretty astounding. So, like, if I'm Memphis, I'm trying to get as many picks as possible for either Ja or Triple J and just build this thing through the draft at this point.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, right now, right, they find themselves at 18 and 25. They're a half game behind the Mavericks, who aren't going to be trying to win. They are 4 games behind. What are they? 4.5 games ahead of the Jazz. And then it's like 8 for the Kings and 8.5 for the Pelicans. And then I think here, if we look, so 18 and 25, they're probably going to finish ahead of Milwaukee, maybe behind Charlotte, but ahead of Brooklyn, Indy, and Washington. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that puts them 8th, I think, right? 8th, maybe 9th.
I just pulled up Tankathon.
Yeah.
Let's see where it's at. So, yeah, they are 10th right now.
10th, yeah. So that's what I was saying. And I think Milwaukee will, if Milwaukee's not already behind them, I think Milwaukee will fall behind them too. So I think it's going to be hard for them to just like actively, like whether they try or not, this kind of feels like where they are going to finish up,
Somewhere in that 8 to 10 range, I think feels right.
Yeah.
Unless they go on like a crazy losing streak, but somewhere in there. But I mean, what that basically means is that you have let's say you're at 8, you have a 26% chance of finishing top 4.
Yeah.
In this draft, which once again, I'm just going to repeat for the audience. Like, for those who have not been following college hoops this year, this is easily the best class we've had in a long time. I know this year's rookie class has been fantastic, but like,
yeah.
This is the first class post-COVID, basically, in a real way. And what I mean by that is like that have had like a true 4-year development cycle in high school.
Yeah.
So you're just seeing kids who, when they come out in next year's class, are going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's a good point by Regulator that the Grizz have the Magic pick as well.
Yeah, which is around 15th. And I expect the Magic to do a little bit better, although they've been kind of funky. Do they, before we like move off of Memphis, do you think they move off of Jaren?
It's a big contract.
Yeah.
That extension, I think, is 5 years, 205, something like that. Maybe New York makes a move.
Yeah.
I was watching some Locked On Nuggets last night as an aside. Sounds like the Knicks are locked in on Jose Alvarado.
Oh, really?
Back in Park. Yeah. That was per Matt Moore. And, depending on how you feel about Matt's reporting, but.
That's so funny because that to me does not scream the help that they need. I like Jose Alvarado, but when I think of just like the Knicks' flaws, I guess he's a defensive guard, sort of. So maybe that's
would solve some of their backup point guard stuff. He's someone that can organize, second team offenses in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know that he's necessarily played in the Mike Brown system, but has played with Mike Brown adjacent coaches.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We're going to see a lot more conversation as we're leading up to the deadline in a week and a half about that some deals are kind of locked in, and that wouldn't surprise me in terms of an idea. To pass one's question on Triple J, I just don't see him going to Boston.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I know we talked about this on the Celtics Daily a couple of times, but I know Boston has liked Triple J in the past. But again, like with the apron stuff, and you're already locked into basically $100+ million a year between two guys, it's really hard to add another like a $40+ million a year contract. And so I just don't think that's the. I think he would fit nice actually next to Keita. I think that makes sense as a 4-5, but like financially speaking, it doesn't make sense. And the production's like too all over the place. I saw a regulator saying that there was some Charlotte buzz on Triple J, and that would I would love that. I think that would be fun, especially if that piece of shit Miles Bridges contract is in there too.
How crazy is it? Mike, did you see some of the reporting over the weekend that the Hornets are looking to get up to 2 first-round picks for Miles Bridges?
Yeah, I think it's because the Lakers, like there's a couple of desperate teams sniffing around. And again, Milwaukee probably hurts. The Giannis injury probably hurts the Miles Bridges trade value only because I think they were like, look, the Warriors are desperate. The Bucks are desperate. The Lakers are desperate. Maybe we can get somebody to overpay for Miles Bridges. And Bridges had a nice little run too, statistically speaking, when they were so short with their big men, when Cockbrenner was missing some time and Musa was in and out of the lineup, that Bridges had to do a little bit more. But I mean, the team they so clearly don't need him right now, especially having like Khan and. Khan's been awesome. Brandon Miller's been awesome. I saw regular said who outside of Wemby gets the fun max this offseason? Does Brandon Miller or the Twins get it? Feels like Amen Thompson probably garners the most value out of that group of three. Asar is awesome too defensively, but I think Amen's probably with a little bit more of a ceiling. But Miller would be right there if he could just stay.
Yeah,
healthy.
I mean, Brandon Miller feels like the kind of player who would get the fun max. By the way, I don't know if you saw this. You see Zachary Richer is going to the G League for rehab?
Yeah, I thought that was just because he's missed like 3 weeks. And so, because they did that with like Josh Giddey too, where they just send him down to go through like a workout, a game. I think that's what it is. I don't think that's like a real, but that was just me. I saw that report and immediately thought that. So I haven't seen reporting one way or the other on that.
I've seen some like, I checked in with some like Discord Hawks people who were like, yeah, this is normally what they do in terms of their injury recovery. They'll send you down for like a couple of days if they're away. But especially just in terms of the way that people view the Richer stuff, it's like, oh, we're heading towards the deadline and he's heading down to the G League.
That's why it has to be a rehab stint, because especially how he's been floated around in like trade rumors, it would be crazy as an organization to send him to the G League right before the deadline.
Power Duster. I am not stirring the pot. I'm just noting an injury report I saw over the weekend,
Yeah, were there any games this weekend? Like I know Toronto's been kind of on a heater a little bit, so that's probably why he wants to talk about the weekend. So they beat the Thunder last night 103-101. The Thunder stay like pretty shorthanded, and the good news for Toronto here is they got IQ back and cooking the last couple of games. He had 23-11 in that W. He had some big shots late in the fourth. They've been missing Colin Murray-Boyles, but they also got RJ back, who's now playing like 20 minutes a game in his two. So they beat the Thunder on Sunday. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday when they had their other game, but it was on the West Coast.
Friday, and they Portland.
They beat Portland again with IQ having a 28-7 in that one. No Denny in that game. So they get 2 Ws, right? They are now 29-19, I believe, right? So that puts them just a half game back behind the Celtics for the 2 seed. Where do we land with Toronto? Like, what do you think Toronto's ceiling is, and do you think they get active during the trade deadline?
So, I was watching the Athletic guys late last week, and Esfandar Barini was saying one of the reasons why you're seeing the Raptors in a lot of bigger transaction talks is that you do have a new management team over there. And ownership wants to mix things up, apparently. That's according to his reporting, his sources. So could you see an RJ Barrett deal? Maybe. I think that's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
Whether it's RJ, IQ, someone like that. just to clean up their wing situation because CMB has been fucking phenomenal. Like
He's been so good.
Arguably the best defensive rookie this year. Has lived up to the hype. The Portal contract is brutal, but if you can get off that,
yeah, they just can't get him help, right? The report over the weekend too is that he's gonna they're like, yeah, we're giving him shots now. So I don't know if he's gonna come back. So I think you're gonna have to attach other assets, I think, to move off of Pirtle. Man, that's like an under talked about trade just because it doesn't matter. It's like Jakob Pirtle. We're not going to compare Pirtle for like Rudy Gobert or whatever. I mean, for the not Rudy Gobert trade, for what was the Rudy trade. But you're not going to compare it because it's Jakob Pirtle. But man, that trade sucked. When it happened, it didn't make sense, and now it's too bad that that's what they're living with. But you're right. If they could get a little wing help or just like some big help, I mean, right now it's fine. Like Sandro's doing it. Scotty plays. Yeah, Scotty plays some five at times, and then CMB can play some five at times too. But honestly, if they could just get one little piece there, I think they could be fun. Like especially with just how wide open the East is, and Scotty is really I feel like he's taken a pretty big leap this year.
It's funny because early on he was sort of struggling a little bit
to
start the year. And as the season's gone on, his efficiency's jumped up. He's always been able to defend at a really high level. But I think one of the things we've seen is his defense has leaped up in the fourth quarter. He has more fourth quarter blocks than anyone in the league.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive. Power Dasher, real quick, since I see you in the chat. Everyone moved up one seat, but I think ownership wants to see some changes, I think, to the roster would be the way that the way S described it, basically.
Yeah.
Bobby Webster, yes, is now the GM, but like it sounds like ownership wants changes, basically. But
yeah, it's just pretty surprising though that they're 10 games over 500 with just not being healthy, right? Ingram missed some time, RJ's missed a ton of time, piecemealing together the center position. I mean, like Agbaji plays like Jamal Shedd's been great. It's been a fun team. The Celtics for whatever reason seem to have their number, which is kind of funny because it feels like this wouldn't be a great matchup for Boston.
Nope.
But I trust them almost as much as anybody else at the top half of the East right now. Like it's so crazy. Like Detroit just keeps winning, so they're obviously the clear favorite, right? A 5.5 game lead is nice, but that Boston, Toronto, New York, Cleveland, even Philly, Miami's still right there. I don't really trust Miami, but they're still right there. And then I feel like the Magic could come on strong if they could ever play more than 3 games together as a core. I feel like they could start winning. But
Mike, you mentioned Ingram. Just a thought here. So Ingram, the last couple of years, has not been able to stay particularly healthy. Already this year, he's played 46 games.
Yeah.
21 points, 46, 35, 83 line, but like 21, 5 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just been kind of the efficient scorer that they've needed.
And he really picked it up when IQ and RJ were out. I thought both BI and Ingram, both BI and Scotty, I thought got way more aggressive on the offensive end. And then Jamal Shedd's been so good for them. He's been
just to put a fine point on it. He's at 46 games the last 4 years for Brandon Ingram. Last year he played 18, sat out, got the extension. 64 games, 45, 55, and then 61 dating back to 21. Like I think he's on pace to maybe have passed that 64 game number.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Ingram's been able to stay as healthy as he has been pretty critical to their playoff chances, and they have a genuine shot of being top 4. And look, they're only a half game behind the Celtics for the second seed.
Yeah, I think they will be top 4 because Cleveland is starting to, and maybe we just talk about them for a second. I don't think Cleveland really can afford to make too many moves right now just because of how pricey that roster is. And I know DeAndre Hunter mentioned that he's like frustrated with his role and he wanted to trade. Hunter's minutes are actually kind of nuts right now. So he's he's questionable for tonight, but he played 30 minutes and 25 minutes, but they were really shorthanded in those 2 games. That was the 16th against the Sixers and then the 19th against the Thunder. And then it's been 13 minutes and 19 minutes in his last 2. And his usage has just been bad. But Cleveland is playing a little bit better right now without Garland. I think they're 7-3 in their last 10. Mobley has been a lot better since they've been shorthanded. He's been a little bit more aggressive offensively. He's always good defensively, but he's been a little bit more aggressive offensively. I just don't know if they can they afford to make any sort of moves, or is it just like this core has to figure it out?
Oh, so Cleveland is compelling because they're a second apron team. They're the most expensive team in the league. In terms of making a deal, because they're second apron, you can only do 1-for-1 deals, basically. So that makes it really difficult. You could do a DeAndre Hunter deal, but at his salary slot number, which I'll just pull up here. One sec, guys.
It's kind of pricey, isn't it, for what he's doing?
Yeah, I think I got it here. One sec. Apologies to the chat. We're doing this on the fly. We'll do it live. $23 million for this year, $24 million next year. For a guy who's a sixth man, it's a little expensive.
Yeah.
And the other guy you could see maybe being dealt would be Jared Allen, but that feels like an off-season thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to move off it. I mean, look, they could still finish top 4 too. They've beaten bad teams. Let me be clear. They've beaten some really bad teams generally.
Yeah, at the East, if I mean, obviously I'm a Celtics fan, but I wouldn't be stunned if they fell back to a 5 or 6 seed. Their schedule, strength of schedule, is kind of middle of the road, so maybe it's not too too tough for them to fall back. But I wouldn't be stunned. I feel like if you play the Pistons, they'll play them in a 1-possession game, but then if you play the Hornets, they'll play them in a 1-possession game. They kind of play up or down to whoever they're playing. So I wouldn't be stunned to see them slip a little bit. Although, if the Tatum return is real and around the corner, then that obviously is a boost to them. They've been rumored to be in trade stuff since September, since basically Simons came to the team. But I actually think they're probably going to stand pat here unless somebody calls them with a crazy offer. But the Knicks, I'm sure, are going to be sniffing around things. And the Sixers too, they're 4 games over 500. I know they lost to the Knicks yesterday. Also, did anybody watch did you watch any of that Knicks Sixers game?
No.
It was one of the last 2 minutes was that Saturday? I can't remember what day it was. It was chaos. It was some of the worst officiating I've ever seen, where Tony Brothers and the crew basically just swallowed the whistle in some real obvious spots where they were trying to intentionally foul to not allow them to shoot the 3 and then just wouldn't call it. And there was just weird stuff on both sides. It was really, really bad officiating. But man, I could see Philly, the fact that they've managed all the injuries this season and are still there are just kind of fun. The East is just so wide open, and even Detroit, they could make a move at the deadline. I don't know. Do you see anybody in the East?
I think of all the teams in the East, Detroit is the team that is most primed to make a move. Michael Porter Jr. seems like the name that's been floated around Detroit. That would be the all-in move for them because of Porter's salary at $40 million. You can make it work with Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey. A couple other smaller pieces. You can make that work. And a first. Yeah. Brooklyn wants 2. Maybe you make it a 3-team deal. But regardless, that feels like an all-in move and would be the kind of move where all right, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
We have a chance to win in the East and try to make it work. As for Boston, to your point of Boston, I don't know, man. I think they're going through it a little bit. This is kind of something they've done the last couple of years in middle of January where they just struggle randomly. I think they'll be fine. Tatum's coming back. Period. Point blank. Jason, I think will be back in early March. I've said that for a while now. I think March 4th is the date that people are kind of bouncing around right now, but he'll be back soon. So I think they'll still finish top 4. As for Philly, the fact that they've gotten the production that they have out of VJ and Tyrese, and then Embiid, and then Paul George is just kind of comfortably fit into this number 4 role has been fascinating to watch. this is a guy who, in his prime, was an elite, 26, 27 point per game scorer, and had the podcast and was a great shot. I think pretty fucking good with the Clippers. And now he's just settled in and be like, yeah, I'm a max player, but I'm the fourth guy. You don't see that very often.
No.
Kind of wild. And this is a Philly team. I still think, they could use some wing help to me. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's just wild that they have been able to. My only fear for them is just the amount of minutes Maxey and VJ are logging right now. Like Nick Nurse is a minute terrorist, and so I am a little nervous that all of a sudden we get some soft tissue stuff going on. But if they if they're able to continue to manage Embiid the way that they are, where he's playing 33, 35 minutes, if they have 3 games in 5 days, maybe he sits one of those. But for the most part, he's playing. They already ruled him out today, and I think that's because this past week's schedule was pretty taxing for them. So if they're able to float around there, I don't think they're a team that's oh my God, we need to get to the 2 seed or anything. I think they will feel pretty comfortable no matter who they match up against. And I honestly, Magikarp, agree. I think Kelly Oubre has quietly been hooping for the Sixers team since coming back from the injury. So I'll be fascinated to see what they do. Maddie was saying even if Detroit goes all in with MPJ, they keep flexibility since he only has one more year on his deal as opposed to the Triple J stuff. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they should go get Triple J. I know he would work next to Dern pretty well, but I don't think there's a need for Detroit. You can go half all in. You don't have to completely mortgage the future to try to get there this season.
And the thing with MPJ that makes sense for them is you can run a lot of what they do offensively already with MPJ. They don't run a ton of dribble handoff stuff with Cade, but if you have an MPJ, it provides a different look. And once you start doing that, and Cade can kind of dish and dime to the corners. Even if you throw MPJ in the corner, that's a 40% shooter who shoots 6'10".
Right.
So to me, it would just be a win-win. Not saying Tobias Harris isn't fine. He's been good enough for them, but I think
I thought
MPJ raises the ceiling for what they could be.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun to monitor. I mean, the East is way more fun for trade stuff just because I think those teams have a little bit more flexibility than say the West. It feels a little bit more hamstrung with who can actually make a move just because those teams have kind of already made their moves. Houston has kind of already said we're not going to. The West is so interesting too because we know the Thunder and the Spurs have been exciting. They've been new. That they've been a little surprising for how well they've been doing. Denver surviving the Jokic injury has been
crazy.
It's so crazy the fact that they're 7-3 in their last 10. Shout out Milwaukee for giving them 2 Ws without Jamal Murray playing. But Houston and Minnesota specifically, I think the Lakers are coming back down to earth just because they don't play defense. This was bound to happen. But the Timberwolves and the Rockets. So Houston's 27-16, Minnesota's 27-19. I feel like those two teams could make a move, and the reason I'm so intrigued by them is I feel like they're still in a good position without having played good basketball. Houston, I feel like we're getting a B- version of them outside of KD, who's been awesome, and Minnesota.
He's been great.
Yeah, and Minnesota's been weird. I feel like they are playing so bad, and yet they keep getting enough wins that it's fine. And I know yesterday, exclude yesterday from them playing bad. I think that was a separate situation. But I feel like those two teams could actually make a move that would shift power a little bit in the West.
Yeah, I mean, look, with Minnesota, it's just going to come down to backup point guard play. Whether you're dealing Rob Dillingham, whether you keep Mike Conley. But if you can get just a solid backup point guard who can kind of organize the offense for 10 to 15 minutes, I think would be ideal for them. And then what was the second team you threw out there?
Houston.
Phoenix?
Houston.
With Houston, it's, if they wanted to make a big move, they could. Giannis still sits out there as maybe a golden goose that you go after. And wouldn't be that hard to do. The Sengun season has been so up and down that I could see them putting Sengun in a deal for someone like a Giannis. KD's been phenomenal for them. the Reed Shepherd experience has been an experience.
Yeah.
You know, like he's had moments where he's looked phenomenal, but he's in his second year. You know, like it's just like when you're dealing with a young point guard in a high pressure situation, the playmaking's been there, the shooting has been there for at times, and then the defense hasn't.
Yeah.
But we knew that going in with taking Reed at 3.
Right.
So do I think they could make a move? Yeah, but I don't know what the move is for them. Like, Mike, what would be the ideal move for them?
I think it's similar to Minnesota. Like, I think if you could get a backup point guard that's like they were playing, it's a lot of Aaron Holiday, it's a lot of like JD Davison all of a sudden is getting some run. So I think both Minnesota, like that Chicago injury to Trey Jones sucks so much because I think Trey Jones and Kobe White are both like prime trade candidates for a team that could come in and play like, I mean, Kobe White's a little bit more established than Trey Jones, but Trey Jones has been having a really solid year. And I think both of those guys kind of make sense on both of the Houston, Minnesota team. I actually don't think Houston does anything though. I think Houston likes their core of their young guys. The Steven Adams injury really sucks. I think that was, that's a big piece. And it sounds like initially it didn't sound like it was going to be too bad. Now it sounds like he's done until the playoffs.
You might be gone longer than that. Like that's a nasty injury.
Yeah.
A grade 3 sprain is not a sprain.
Yeah.
That is a tear.
Yeah. That's tough. So that, and I know they got Tari Eason back, but he's always in and out.
Tari wants an extension.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Houston stands pat. I do. I think Minnesota's more likely to be a team that makes the move. I just think those two teams both have like flexibility, assets to make said move. San Antonio does too, but I don't think San Antonio is going to do anything. I think they are taking the OKC route where they're like, let's see what we have in a playoff series first. And then,
I can tell you locally, Golden State desperate to make a move. Unsure that they are going to.
Yeah,
but
I did not bring them up because I don't think they matter. Like there's no move that they can make that's going to get them to a top 6. Like I mean, like even you look at Phoenix. Like Phoenix is just better. It's just better than Golden State.
Better team.
And, yeah. Like Golden State right now is 2.5 ahead of Portland. Portland, by the way, I know they play Boston tonight. 7-3 in their last 10. Starting to get healthy again, even though Denny missed the game. Like Drew's back, Grant's back. They all of a sudden are playing pretty good ball, and then you have the Clippers, who have now for like a month and a half. What were they, like 6-18, and they're now 21-24. They're 8-2 in their last 10.
They're making people eat tweets, Mike.
I know, right? And they're just 4 games back from Golden State. So I don't trust Portland to keep doing this, but I do trust. Like I could see the Clippers catching Golden State. But they're not. Golden State's not going to, unless they intentionally do it, are not going to fall out of their top 10. Like this 10 is pretty much locked. I don't see Memphis or Dallas or any of those teams actually like trying to win games. So that's going to be their top 10.
I mean, assuming there's no Steph injury at some point, like a hamstring strain or something like that, which he is. You know, he's had a lot of lower leg injuries in the past. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's like a foot or a hamstring strain or something like that.
Yeah.
The JK thing is going to happen. Is my prediction.
The what?
The Kuminga thing is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Week. I saw Kuminga for Wiggins now. Like,
sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's been a thing.
Sure, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, like, whatever. Just go get picks, man. Just try to Kuminga for picks. Like, don't even worry about bringing anything back. Because again, like you were saying, even if Curry misses, right? They would have to. If Curry were to miss, right? And the Golden State's like, let's just tank. They have to make up 6 games in losses for the Grizzlies. Like, well, I guess it's just 4, but there's 6 games ahead of Memphis right now for the 11, just to drop out of the play-in. Like Memphis, Dallas, Utah, Kings, Pelicans, those guys aren't coming to catch the Warriors.
I mean, maybe you can get into the back end of the lottery. Like, maybe.
Yeah, like
you end up somewhere in like that Portland Clippers spot, somewhere between 11 to 13. And maybe you have an outside shot at a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Pasquan's asking in the chat when Jokic is back. It's a good question.
I think this week. I think he's going to be back this week. He let me look at and then this is actually a good transition. Then we'll talk about tonight's games quickly, and we'll move from there. So Denver plays Tuesday against Detroit, and then they play again. Is it Thursday? And then they play Thursday home against Brooklyn, and Friday against the Clippers. I could see him coming back on Friday. They said they wanted they was like a week ahead of schedule. They said the last week of January was looking good. Over the weekend, whenever Denver, I know their game got canceled the other day. It was the game before that. There was like video footage of him warming up pregame, and he looked pretty good and was moving really well. So I would imagine we see him play one of the Thursday-Friday game, and the Clippers game would make more sense than the Brooklyn game. And then it's probably similar to what we saw with Jonas Valanciunas, who came back this week, where it's like he starts and then he plays like 22 to 26 minutes. Like I don't see him coming back and playing 35.
One thing that's interesting about that canceled game is an aside. One last game that's going to count against him in terms of MVP stuff,
right,
awards and whatnot.
I think if he comes back on Friday, he's due to play 68 games or 67 games if he doesn't miss another one, which is kind of funny.
So, like, the MVP odds could just flip in some way. Mm-hmm. So, for those of you in the betting circles, maybe throw a little something on Jokic potentially.
Yeah, OKC's been kind of weird too. I mean, like, I think SGA still wins it just because I think they'll finish with the number 1 seed, and SGA will play that many more games. But the Thunder they're 5.5 games. Let's quickly look at tonight's schedule, and I'll just poke around at some of the injury stuff, and then we'll wrap up. Because just a reminder too, Live Before Lock is at noon today, so in just a couple of hours we'll be back. But we've got for like the underdog slate, there's only 5 games because these 2 games got moved up. Pacers and Hawks, who I think both of these teams are relatively healthy. I don't have the injury reports in front of me, so I'm not going to talk about that. Sixers already said no PG and no Embiid. Drummond's been starting, and then Boner's been playing the backup minutes. So do that with what you will. It hasn't been like 30 minutes of Drummond, but he's been starting. Okay, and then we've got tonight, Magic and Cavs. Cavs are favored by 5.5. They just played each other. No Franz in this one again. Did you see the Franz injury? Did they give us like a timetable on that?
They have not. I haven't seen anything cross timeline on that.
Damn. Suggs is back though. He played like 24 minutes over the weekend. I thought that was promising. Then you get
on the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of like them you've watched over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. They're throwing a lot of big lineups out there.
They've been, again, that's been part of the Hunter thing that's been killing them. I think when they got Larry Nance back, right, they've been running him out a little bit more. They've
been running like Nance, Dean Wade.
Yeah.
The Garland injury hurts, but like, they can throw Naquan Tomlin in there.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Tyson. They've been throwing very different lineups out there.
Tyson had a really funny game this weekend against Orlando, in the first game against Orlando, because he had like 26 fantasy points at halftime, and he finished with 27 fantasy points. It was hilarious. So, but yeah, Tyson's kind of fun tonight. Whatever. I don't want to talk about that game too much. Trailblazers and Celtics. Celtics being favored by 8.5 kind of thing makes me think Denny's sitting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 8.5's a big number.
And that total's kind of high.
Man, Portland plays fast. Dude, you know what I was crazy over the weekend? So Nemi was questionable on Friday for the Nets game with an illness. He plays. Then he's questionable for the Bulls game on Saturday. He's ruled in, but then he comes off the bench because he's too sick, but then still plays 26 minutes off the bench. Makes no sense. I don't understand why he's like, I'm too sick to start, but I can play the same amount of minutes just off the bench.
I think it was that Amari got into some early foul trouble in that game.
And now they needed him?
And they needed him because, like, the Celtics weekend was kind of funny because you have the buzzer, the double OT versus the Nets.
Yeah.
Which, no reason to go into double OT versus the Nets because they were up 5 with a minute left.
It's crazy.
And then you have the Hugo Gonzalez 3 to tie it in the first OT.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lose on a buzzer beater the next day to Chicago.
Yeah.
On Derrick Rose night, which fuck Derrick Rose. Just gonna put that out there. Zero respect for that man.
Yeah.
But as far as Portland and the Celtics go, I just want to see how Denny matches up against the Celtics defense if he plays. If he does not, who do you think they will go to as their go-to guy? Is this gonna be Shaden?
Shaden. I also like Drew has been a little bit more active. I know he's been on minute restrictions here, but in 22 minutes against Toronto, he had 21-7. In 19 minutes against Miami, he had 15-7 at a 12-4-4 line. So, like, I could see Drew doing a little bit more, and then obviously Shaden Sharp. Shaden Sharp as well is pretty good.
Chat's asking, wondering like D-Reps. Guys, Google his civil case, and you can put 2 and 2 together. That man said he didn't understand what consent was. Literally.
Yeah. It's
so,
not a great look. Not a great look.
Anyway, speaking of the Bulls, Lakers Bulls.
Yeah, Lakers Bulls. Lakers have been ass lately. Even though they got that win against Dallas, but it got spicy there for a little bit. Yeah, just saw that notification. Bobby Marks Giannis article drop. But yeah, this one, Giddey's back. He's playing like 24, 26 minutes. Kobe White's up over 30 minutes, which is pretty good. For the Lakers, it's just kind of Luke and LeBron, and I don't know, man. Ayton, sometimes you get dominating, sometimes you get shitty Ayton.
Holy shit, Ayton's weekend.
Yeah, I know. This is a great matchup against Chicago, but maybe Magic Card pointed out that Rui started playing like 30 plus, that maybe he's playing 30 plus in this one. So we got to dig into that a little bit more, but that is a good matchup. And then just 2 games left, I think, quickly here, so we can get out of here. Grizz and Rockets. Rockets are favored by 10.5. Santi Aldama might be back, but that's it. And then the last game, Timberwolves. This line is already open at 8.5. I think is now shifted to 7.5. This isn't guaranteed, but just so people know, Steph Curry's. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Steph Curry's listed as questionable, but he kind of already said he was going to play. He only played 25 minutes yesterday because that game got out of hand right away, or 28 minutes. So I kind of think Steph goes, but that's it for tonight's stuff. Mike, anything else going on you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good to be back on the bit. Good to see
good to have you, man.
Going to the Super Bowl, which by the way is going to be here in town. Like,
it's great. Somebody get Whitesburg tickets.
I'm probably not going to get tickets, although I'm going to some concerts. Going to
there you go.
Olivia Dean Shabuzi, thinking about trying to get tickets to the Post Malone thing, which is like right next door to me at Fort Mason. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Dude, when I lived in Tampa, it was the year Brady got killed week 1. And so what was that? Steelers Cardinals Super Bowl, I think. It was in Tampa. And like you said, Olivia Dean there and Post Malone, their concert was like 3 doors down. It was a lot of 3 doors down back then.
Yeah, the other big concerts next week are The Killers, Sting, T-Pain, Ludacris. There's a whole bunch of concerts over the next 2 weeks, so it'll be fun.
There you go. Gonna hit all the age brackets. All right, let's call it there. We'll be back at noon for Live Before Lock. 89 Cavs at some point, and then Power Duster.
Power Duster. That concert's free. So I won't be spending any money if I get in. It's a Bud Light concert. So
and then the NBA bit will be back tomorrow. Thanks for jumping on, Weisberg. We out of here.